Hi, I'm Jane. I'm a social worker and a registered yoga teacher, and I'm inspired this morning to share a teaching on hope. So, welcome to this moment. Hope in light of the world in which we're living, simply a pandemic and wildfires and floods. And from this moment, how do we tap into hope with all that we are experiencing, what I would call collectively? So I came up with a mantra that I wanted to share. Om Shri Gaya Ma. Let's say it again. Om Shri Gaya Ma. Om Shri Gaya Ma. Om Shri Gaya Ma. I'm beginning to say it with reverence in my heart. Om Shri Gaya Ma. As we know that we are saying the divine word, Om Shri, salutations or acknowledgements, Gaia of Mother Goddess, Ma, regeneration. Aren't we at a time collectively as sentient beings, as creatures of the earth itself? Om Shri Gaya Ma. Om Shri Gaya Ma. As we say words that can be meaningful and we say them collectively, we transform the world. I don't mean to get dramatic here, but change starts with oneself. Om Shri Gaya Ma. So we'll keep Om Shri Gaya Ma in the room with us as I mention this next concept. You are not alone in your pain. We often feel like our pain and suffering is just about us. Pain is universal. As I share this not new teaching, may it enter your heart in a way that allows you to bring compassion to your pain. You are not alone in your pain. The question is, what do we do with the pain? So I often teach that we have pain and then we have judgment of the pain. So this judgment of the pain makes pain get bigger. And so what we're really looking for in this moment in time, let's take a breath together through the nose. Hold it at the top and blow out like a candle. We're looking to honor our pain. It isn't saying yes to pain because we like it. Pain is painful. It's hard to like. And yet, when we say yes to pain, we say yes to what is. And in that yes to what is, we can begin to create compassion. So I'm rubbing my hands together, and this is how we begin to use the body as we hold ourselves in compassion. Om Shri Gaya Ma. Om Shri Gaya Ma. We begin to regenerate. We begin to find the energy to look at things just a little bit differently. The next teaching is that pain and pleasure exist at the same time. Pain and pleasure can coexist. Actually, pain and pleasure can exist in the same body, mind, and spirit. So we begin to tap into this too, T-O-O, this too, this also. So just holding in the room with us that just because pain, also pleasure. And there are moments in time where pain overwhelms, and in that regard, regeneration or rest. We don't seek something that isn't true. We bring compassion to what is. And in that compassion, we begin to transform and be open to pleasure. The next concept is about uncertainty. So we have a past and a present. Notice the present is just coming right in the center, right at me, and a future, past, present, future. And in this present moment, uncertainty is real. And one of the invitations with uncertainty is to ground yourself in the present moment and accept that we don't know. And in not knowing, we also bring in a teaching that, like weather, and I worked with somebody and we talked about their struggles as a thunderstorm. Like weather, change happens. Weather comes and goes. And how is that helpful? That weather like change comes and goes, is that it provides a hopefulness. We know that this state won't last forever. And I'm thinking I have a card here that says, do your part. So we'll get there, because you might say, how do we change the weather? And that's a really good question. So, why don't we stay with that? So when we acknowledge that this will change, we get to self-evaluate. That's become the observer teaching. And say, how can I be with this pain with compassion? How can I do the next right thing? These are massive topics that I'm trying to break down in a hopeful way for you, to know that this will pass. This always passes. So I wrote a card called Meditate. So why meditate? One of the teachings around meditation is that, and meditation isn't always indicated, so for those that struggle to get into the present moment, I recommend guided meditations. And one of my favorite guided meditations people is Sarah Blondin, and you can find her on YouTube and Insight Timer. So meditation, although it brings us inward, we connect with the universal being. So in meditating, we're actually connecting, because we are getting into our true nature, where the discursive mind feels like our true nature. It is not. So I recommend, as a daily practice, even if it's 5 minutes twice a day, to settle your mind, to begin to learn about meditation and practicing, becoming the observer of your experience. As you connect with your inner self, you're connecting with all beings. This is the best. Rest. Rest is not, our culture moves so quickly. We judge resting. Please, my friends, rest, rejuvenate. We say, Om Shri Gaya Ma, regeneration. The earth, sentient beings, all beings need to regenerate. We get to rest. We get to honor rest. We get to rest without judgment. We get to rest with compassion. Here's the Do Your Part card. And I was thinking about ways that we can honor Mother Earth, not just taking from Mother Earth, but giving. Whether it be planting a garden, or supporting a bee farm, or creating a bee farm, or letting weeds grow, because bees are attracted to what maybe doesn't look good, to what has come to not look good. I mean, a weed is beautiful. It's just we judge a weed. I have a sign out on my lawn that said, don't mind the weeds, we're feeding the bees. Doing your part can mean a charity around, do a Google search on how can I support the wildfires, and doing our part, starting with love and compassion to self. That's doing. So when we begin to be this judging being, we pull it back and we soften to ourself, like our own best friend, loving compassion. And in this doing our part, we can find hope. Hope as a verb. Hope that we are showing up knowing that we don't know what will happen next, but in 10 possibilities, we don't need to think the worst. Let's pull that back. Do our part, loving compassion. I wanted to offer a couple of ideas. So I love the On Being podcast with Krista Tippett, and I listened today to Sharon Salzberg, who is like the beginner of meditation, not the beginning of meditation, but she created a center with Jack Kornfield, and I can't remember who else. But Sharon Salzberg, you can look her up for trainings on this type of work. Krista Tippett on Being, my God, she gets the most wonderful people that she interviews toward hopefulness. And as always, I wanted to, so if you've heard all of this and it feels like, okay, Jane, enough, you might take a deep breath and we can do a namaste, but I'm going to do a quick little body teaching so that we can know that all of this cerebral stuff that we're talking about needs to enter the body. So as always, we're going to do a minute together of alternate nostril breathing. Ring finger and middle finger on the forehead. I'm going to remove my glasses. Thumb and pinky are going to be used. So I'm going to just give you 2 directions, and then you'll do it on your own. I'm holding my right nostril, breathe in through the left. Pause, hold, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Hold, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Hold, breathe out through the right. Continue for a few more breaths. One more. And release. Regulated natural breathing. Alternate nostril breathing is nerve purification, brain balancing. Bringing the body and the mind into one place of quiet. My friends, even doing a forward bend can initiate parasympathetic nervous system. A forward bend where you ground your feet. A forward bend where you soften your face. Bend your knees, find your fingertips on the ground. Maybe you'll do a forward bend now. Let's pause and do a forward bend. I'm dropping my neck and I'm releasing the tension. I'm inviting you into this moment gently and compassionately. Forward bending into good morning, parasympathetic, and I'm coming to you now. Good morning, the part of the nervous system that says we don't need to fight, flight, fright, or even freeze. And we do when we need to. So remember, thank you, nervous system, for serving me. And right here and now, you've shown up using breath and body to slow yourself down in deep, deep compassion. If you're showing here and you need to release some energy, you might shake it out. If you're showing here and you're feeling dissociated, you might close your hands and tap. But getting into the body, grounding your feet into the present moment, deep breathing down into the belly if you can, alternate nostril breathing as we did, begins to meet the body and these teachings into one. May these teachings offer you hopefulness as you do your part. Hopefulness as you honor yourself. And we'll bring our hands together, raise the elbows, thumbs to sternum. Namaste, my friends. The hopefulness in me sees the hopefulness in you. We'll see you again soon.